So now here is the smoking gun. When we look at the clip from Pawn Shop Chronicles, it shows us that they planned to have Paul Walker allegedly die a fiery death in a red car. This is a smoking gun. For you people that disagree, you guys gonna have to explain this.
Now it's time to bring in the master.
So in this video, I'm going to discuss why I believe that Paul Walker, with the help of Hollywood, staged his death. And at the end of the video, I'm going to discuss why I believe he's still alive. Now, this is my opinion. This is my conspiracy theory. I'm not expecting everyone to agree with me. I'm actually expecting people to not agree. But you see, not agreeing with someone and calling them names and let the man rest in peace, you're gay, that is the easy thing to do. What's going to be hard is to disprove what I'm saying. That's the hard part. The challenge is, can you disprove what I'm saying? Can you disprove the coincidences, the synchronicities, the numerology, all right? The inconsistency of the story. Can you disprove that? You're going to have a hard time to do that. Before you even get to the point of me talking about why I believe he faked his death, you first have to talk about whether it was planned or not. That's the challenge I have for you guys out there, okay? So let's get into the story now. Alright, so now we're going to look at how many things actually hit Paul Walker's car. When we go to HollywoodLife.com, it says Paul Walker's car hit 4 trees, but they weren't drag racing. Okay, so we start at 4 trees. Okay, this is Hollywood Life. It's not the most reputable site, so, you know, let's just take what they say for now. 4 trees. Then when we go to CBS, it says the red 2005 Porsche Carrera GT crashed into a tree and then a light pole before bursting into flames. Follow me now. Now we're going to go to what an eyewitness has said. Okay? An eyewitness said they didn't spin or anything. They went into a tree, then hit 4 trees, and took a big light pole down. The light pole came down and the car bounced off of it, and then they crashed into a tree. That's what eventually stopped the car. So now we're up to 5 trees and a light pole. 5 trees. They hit 4 trees, then a big light pole, and then the light pole came down, the car bounced off of it, and crashed into a tree. So that's 5 trees and 1 light pole. Okay, so alright, fine. So this is the memorial site here. You have the light pole. I guess they put another one up, right? Now, I'm expecting the front of the car to be severely damaged because, I mean, you hit 4 trees. You're driving forward, right? The person isn't driving sideways, right? So I'm expecting that the car is going to be severely damaged in the front. That's what I'm expecting. So we're going to take a look at that car in a second. Hold on a second. Now, Huffington Post. The Porsche crashed into a light pole and a tree and burst into flames. The light pole had a speed limit of 45 miles per hour. Okay? 4 plus 5 is 9. In numerology, we look at that also as a 6. Keep that in mind. All right. Moving forward. Now, this is the car. This is the car. Now, it looks like some missile hit it. I mean, the side of the car is gone. The back of the car is gone. But the hood isn't damaged. How do you explain that? This guy hit 5 trees and a light pole and not a dent in the front of the car. Were they driving sideways? And it just exploded? Like, how do you explain this? I'm talking to you people that are going to disagree. I know you guys are going to disagree. Let the man rest in peace, but you have to explain how this car is damaged. Now, I want you to think about this for a second, and this really isn't the biggest proof. This isn't a smoking gun, so to say, but this is a big issue. Not the biggest, but it's a big issue, and it cannot be ignored. Now, TMZ allegedly has some footage. I'm not going to play it here because it's just a waste of time. You can go and look it up. The moment of impact and massive inferno. And when you actually look at the footage, you can see it was doctored. Okay? It's a fake footage. But what do you expect from TMZ, who is a subsidiary of Time Warner? What do you expect from these agents? You think they're really going to, show you real footage? Now, as the story evolved, the news media would continuously try to paint the picture that Paul Walker and his friend was speed racing. There were skid marks. They were doing donuts. Now, guys, you have to remember that when the news media puts out this story, it actually seeps into people's subconscious. And even though they came back and said, well, Torp told CNN that he looked closely at the skid marks and concluded they were left by a car with smaller tires. You have to remember that when they came out and initially said that they were skid marks, they didn't immediately come back and say they were skid marks from another car with smaller tires. They didn't come out and say that immediately. This is the article. We're talking on TV. On TV, they were saying, oh, there were donuts, there were skid marks. And then the next day or a couple days later, they came back, oh, well, closer scrutiny, after investigation, we find out that those skid marks were not from the car Paul Walker was driving. Now, this is the stupidity of the whole situation. If you're on the ground, you have a crashed car, you see skid marks, you can make the comparison right there. There doesn't need to be a news story about donuts and skid marks on the street and the possibility when you could just do the comparison right there. But again, they're trying to push the agenda that Paul Walker was speeding. This is to promote the movie. We're going to get to the connection to Fast and Furious 7 towards the end. But this is how the story keeps on evolving. Now let's go forward. Then after that, they said, well, mechanical failure was behind Paul Walker's crash. Mechanical failure. All right? In this article here, it says, the sources said the lack of skid marks until just before the point of impact suggests the driver didn't have control of the speeding car's steering. Again, they are trying to push the agenda of Fast and Furious. Now, before I get into the numerology breakdown, I have to add that the dog named Brian from the cartoon show Family Guy got ran over and died in an episode during the same week Paul Walker died. Now, the question you have to ask yourself is, did they draw that episode before Paul Walker died or after? And if they drew it after, isn't that insensitive? And if they drew it before, is that just a coincidence? Or did they actually know Paul Walker was going to actually die? Now we're going to get into numerology now. We look at the time that the crash happened. It was 3:30 p.m. 3:30. 33. 3 plus 3. 6. Now let's do the numerology breakdown. Paul Walker died just 2 months after turning 40. 4 plus 2 gives us 6. The car crash occurred at 3:30 p.m. 3 plus 3 gives us 6. The car hit 5 trees and 1 pole. 5 plus 1 gives us 6. Paul Walker's license plate is 7CCY590. When we apply these numbers to the Jewish gematria calculator, it translates to Metatron. In the Talmud, it states Metatron received 60 strokes with fiery rods to demonstrate he was an angel, not a god. The latest movie, Fast and Furious 7, is the 6th film. The down light pole had a speed limit of 45. 4 plus 5 gives us 9, and in numerology, we look at that also as 6. When we look at Paul Walker's license plate ID, it says 7CCY590. When we take those numbers and letters and put it in the gematria calculator, we get the term Metatron. And when we put Metatron in the calculator, we get back his license plate ID. It says the main themes running through 3 Enoch are the ascension of Enoch into heaven and his transformation into the angel Metatron. This Enoch, whose flesh was turned to flame, his veins to fire, his eyelashes to flashes of lightning, his eyeballs to flaming torches, and whom God placed on a throne next to the throne of glory, received after his heavenly transformation the name Metatron. It says here, the Talmud states it was proved to Elijah that Metatron could not be a second deity by the fact that Metatron received 60 strokes with fiery rods to demonstrate that Metatron was not a god, but an angel and could be punished. So now here is the smoking gun. When we look at the clip from Pawn Shop Chronicles, it shows us that they planned to have Paul Walker allegedly die a fiery death in a red car. This is a smoking gun. For you people that disagree, you guys gonna have to explain this. And everything else I just showed you before. You guys gonna have to explain this clip. Let's take a look at it.
You just keep running there, come on. Fuck his ass up. You just keep running there, come on. Fuck his ass up.
Now I know I said that clip was my smoking gun, but guys, I have a couple more smoking guns. You people that disagree with me and want to call me names, that's cool, that's easy to do. Can you disprove what I'm saying? Because right now I'm proving that this so-called crash was planned, it was staged. Now, when we go to ibtimes.com, it says, when the group agrees they're being hunted down by their enemy, Eon Shaw, played by the action star Jason Statham, Gibson's character requests they suffer no more funerals. Walker's character can be heard replying, "Just one more," followed by the promise to bring down Shaw, saying the only burial will be his. You mean to tell me out of all the characters in the film, they had to make Paul Walker be the one to say, "Just one more"? I mean, guys, if it wasn't obvious before, now it is. This was planned, it was staged. Let's see what the fans are saying in this article. It says fans have reacted strongly to the clip, with most calling Walker's dialogue sad. "This is creepy, crazy, and so sad," said Twitter user Jenny Murphy. Alright guys, I've already proven that this was a planned, staged ritual, but I got more. I'm gonna take you guys deeper down the rabbit hole. I'm gonna take you on the deep end of the pool. Let's go even further. Now we're gonna look at two programs that are basically virtual telescopes. The first one is Stellarium, and the second one is Starry Night. Now, there was a comet called Comet Ison around the time of Paul Walker's death. And what we find is that around the time of Paul Walker's death, the comet went around the sun, and it was going towards Hercules constellation. As you can see here, I'm going to be showing you a video of this so you're not so confused. But the comet basically went around the sun and went towards Hercules. This is a different location, so when we go over here, you see Hercules over here. But basically, it went around and it was going towards Hercules constellation. I'm going to show you the video clip right now. Now, what those video clips were basically showing you is that Comet Ison went around the sun and then towards Hercules constellation. It went like this, went around, and went towards Hercules constellation. Now, let's take a look at where Paul Walker crashed his car. He crashed his car at 25601 Hercules Street. How do you guys explain that? You can't just wiggle your way out of this, call me names. You can't do that. You got some explaining to do. As I said before, this was a planned ritual. Okay? And it's crazy because when we actually go to Google Map, Hercules Street, Constellation Road. I mean, this is too easy. And you know, the elites are laughing at you people because you are so silly, you'll believe anything they say. For instance, 9/11, 2 planes crashed into 2 buildings and 3 buildings collapsed. And you guys believe the official story. So they can tell you anything. So I'm not surprised you guys actually believe that this was an accident. I'm not surprised you actually believe that he's actually dead. Not surprised. But you people that disagree with me, that's easy to do. Disprove it. Explain the synchronicities. Explain the numerology. I'll wait. I'll wait for you to explain all this. You're not going to be able to. Because what's happening is this was planned. Okay? You have a lot of explaining to do. It's easy to disagree and call me a name, but you have to explain this. Now, another thing that I think I should add is between 2006 to 2011, the ATF, which stands for United States Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms Explosives, they ran some sting operations trying to track guns back to Mexican drug cartel leaders so they could arrest them. In 2009, there was a case called the Jacob Chambers case, and after finding out that Chambers was part of a car club, they named the case Operation Fast and Furious. Think about that. So again, this is the push to popularize and glamorize the death of Paul Walker and to promote the movie Fast and Furious again. I mean, it's getting ridiculous, but I just think I should add that. Alright guys, I pretty much proved my point that this was a planned ritual. Now I'm going to get into why I believe that Paul Walker is still alive somewhere and perhaps no one was even in that car. Now, we look at this article here, it says Paul Walker's body is unidentifiable, autopsy delayed. My thing is, if you guys know that this was Paul Walker in the car, what does it matter? Why is it a delay? This is a high profile celebrity. Why are you delaying the autopsy? Okay? But whatever. Then, Paul Walker laid to rest 2 weeks after tragedy. Actor's family and friends gather for burial of actor who died in a fiery crash. It says here, the Fast and Furious star 40, whose remains were cremated Thursday, was interred at the iconic Hollywood cemetery. Again, when they talk about cremating, when they talk about body unidentifiable, those are red flags. Okay? I didn't see the body, you didn't see the body. The fact that it was planned is already a red flag. We know it's planned at this point. But now, is he even dead? I don't think so. And I'm going to show you why I don't think so. I'm going to play a couple clips. We're going to look at these individuals. We're going to look at Sambo, Tyrese, Sambo, Vin Diesel, and we're going to look at his father. And you tell me if what you see is believable. Okay? So we're going to take a look at these clips. Then I'm going to come back and wrap up this video with some recommended books and movies.
Very difficult day for them and a terrible day for the family.
I'm just glad every time I saw him, I told him I loved him. And he said the same thing to me.
Paul Walker's father is trying to deal with the death of his son, who was named after him. One of 4 children, a neighbor told us he and his wife Cheryl raised in this house in Sunland. Today, friends and family got together here.
I wish you could be here to see this, but I know he's here in spirit. Thank you for honoring me, and more importantly, thank you for honoring that angel, my brother Paul Walker.
Has now surfaced with the Fast and the Furious co-star Tyrese Gibson breaking down at the crash site where Paul Walker died yesterday. Tyrese had come to visit the crash site to join with fans in honoring Paul Walker.
In the real world, he leaves behind a 15-year-old daughter, Meadow, and a grieving family.
You lost a spirit. You lost a person that maybe it's meant to be this way. I'm devastated.
The scene of the crash, now a memorial spilling into the street. Fans of the movies, even co-stars are showing up, like model and actor Tyrese Gibson, who left in tears. Mourning a life cut short in a real-life twist that all too closely mirrors the movies Paul Walker made. For Nightline, I'm Cecilia Vega in Valencia, California.
Now, what you just saw there was a performance by the Sambo named Tyrese and the house Negro named Vin Diesel, acting like they're so upset, they're so sad. Paul Walker died. He was my brother, I love him. Like, dude, who are you fooling? Well, maybe he's fooling you guys, but not fooling me. I majored in acting when I went to high school. That was my major. So I know when someone is trying to get in the moment. And that's what these two coons are doing. Now, when you look at the father, he's not even crying. But you have these two coons, Tyrese and Vin Diesel, getting emotional, crying. Fake crying at that. And for my more hardcore followers, when we look at the father's eyes, something is going on there, and we know what that means, right? But I want to look at this movie here. I recommend you watch this movie called The Death and Life of Bobby Z, and Paul Walker starred in the movie. In the movie The Death and Life of Bobby Z, Paul Walker basically impersonates a recently deceased drug dealer. Okay, I recommend you check this movie out. It actually ties into the conspiracy that Paul Walker actually faked his death with the help of Hollywood. Okay, and here are some more movies I'm going to recommend for you to watch. Secret Agent, The Living Daylights, You Only Live Twice, The Raven, Tell No One, Seconds, The Passenger, The Long Goodbye, The Bourne Identity, The Illusionist. And now here's some books that's going to help you understand this particular conspiracy and also how the elites manipulate the masses, okay? The first book is The Unseen Hand. The second is Pawns in the Game. The third is Truth is a Lonely Warrior. The fourth is Bloodlines of the Illuminati. And the fifth is Codex Magica, Secret Signs, Mysterious Symbols, and Hidden Codes of the Illuminati. Alright guys, I think I pretty much proved my point that this was a planned ritual and Paul Walker is still alive somewhere, okay? But that's my opinion, let me know what you think. Till next time, Conspiracy Dude. Hey guys, before I go, make sure you subscribe, add me on Google+, Facebook, and Twitter, and also check out my website, conspiracydude.com, where we can discuss some more controversial issues. Until then, check out my older videos. I'll catch you guys in a bit. My goal, this is in 2010, my goal is to get Nicki Minaj knocked up. LOL. Right? My goal is to get Nicki Minaj before somebody else do. Okay, this is in 2010. He wants to get Nicki Minaj knocked up. And Meek Mills is in for a surprise. You're dealing with someone who's possessed. You're dealing with someone who is a lesbian, fake, you know, and now you're going on tour with this fake lesbian possessed individual. This is a disaster. This is going to end ugly.